And that issue in that is obviously I grew up in the 70s and the 80s, and there was a level of racism all the way through the system. We were fewer in numbers then.
Okay.
We were always made to feel like you're all right, but you're not as good as your counterparts. And should give you the motivation to prove yourself. You've always got to be ready to face the challenge. Experience is good, but wisdom from your elders is sometimes worth listening to. People hear on TV that nurses, doctors, at the lower end are actually struggling, and people think, well, how? Come here and we'll show you how.
Yeah, and what sort of kind of challenges have you had to overcome or go through to get to where you are today?
Basically, within 2 generations, we've gone from being nobody actually being educated in the family to all my nieces and nephews being graduates, minimum. We've got PhDs and all sorts. And that issue in that is obviously I grew up in the 70s and the 80s, and there was a level of racism all the way through the system. People don't want to talk about it. I don't care. And in school, I felt it because there's a few of us Asians that were amongst the brightest, but because we were fewer in number in those days.
Was that in Sparkbrook?
Sparkbrook, Smalley, Sparkbrook. We were fewer in numbers then. We were always made to feel like you're all right, but you're not as good as your counterparts. Despite the fact we were more intelligent in most subjects, and we were achieving higher results throughout. But the dampener was always, you did all right, but you'll never do as well as your counterparts. So it wasn't, today it seems like overt racism, but then it was like a bit of, you're all right, but don't go above your station. And it seemed like they were actually doing us a favor.
How did you deal with that then?
We did it by, not just me, the whole group of us did it by actually proving it in the results at the end, like the GCSEs and O levels in the good old days when we had O levels, way before your time. So we actually got the results that showed that we were way better than our counterparts.
No, I think that's a good lesson for anyone as well. Like, if you work hard, you can overcome things like that as well. Do you think things like racism and issues like that are still as big as they were, or do you think it's improving?
We had a few years where things were normalizing. We've now got overt racism, and that overt racism, without upsetting anybody, currently has turned into a massive thing in Islamophobia. All the things that have actually been, international affair, things that have been happening, the people that are most targeted, and it's not me saying it, you can find 101 research projects out there that are actually saying that the Muslims are slowly being pushed back and back. If your name's Mohammed, Hussein, Ali, then you have to work twice as hard to get the same sort of opportunities as other communities in this country. So, but I don't find that as a negative thing. I find that if you've got the heart, that should be a challenge.
Use it as motivation.
And should give you the motivation to prove yourself. Because that's what our elders did. They came here, no English, nothing. They set their roots here. They founded businesses. There are multi-billion-pound businesses run by Asians. So your challenge is way simpler than their challenge.
Yeah, that's true. They did the hard bit so we can have it a little bit easier.
It's a challenge. I'm not saying it's easy, but remember that the hard slog has already been done.
That's true. It's about improving it from generation to generation.
Like I said, my father came here, set up a business, which gave me opportunity. My kids are now, one's working in a hospital, the other one wants to be a school teacher. Which my parents would have never thought about our kids actually getting that far in this society. All of you younger people have actually got more opportunity despite this racism. This has been in the system always. But what you need to do is you need to not go against, well, you have to go against the system.
Yeah.
But you prove to the system that you are actually as good, if not better, than anything the system thinks that you're capable of.
Yeah, instead of feeling sorry for yourself, go and prove yourself. Yeah.
Being sorry for yourself is actually an excuse out of the challenge. You've always got to be ready to face the challenge, whatever the challenge. You know, life will always throw a challenge on you.
That's true. Yeah.
And the one thing you can't do is actually say, "Oh, this is too much for me." If it's too much for you, then you don't want to live.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's true. Yeah. And do you feel like a lot of the challenges have changed from being like a young adult in Sparkbrook versus now you've got grown-up children, you've got your own family? How has it changed?
The challenges are actually a little bit easier for me now because I've got more experience.
Yeah.
And I'm actually older and I'm a little bit more patient.
Yeah.
I'm not much more patient, but a little bit more patient. So I feel that I don't react to things with the same venom that I used to do as a younger person, which actually gets me better results.
You think it through a bit more.
Yeah, think things through. And similarly, I'm able to share with my children and anybody that wants to listen. Is to say that experience is good, but wisdom from your elders is sometimes worth listening to. Not always, because your challenge might be slightly different, but you know, listening to somebody around you who's been through something similar would make your life a little bit easier. So what I find is, even though challenges might be the same, but my reaction to them is a little bit more thought through and more stable, which makes people that I actually have to talk to a little bit more comfortable. And it's not a head-on, it's actually a discussion.
No, it's very good advice. It's kind of best to learn from other people's mistakes and make the mistake yourself as well. It's always best to speak to someone more experienced than you as well, isn't it? What would you say going back onto the community, what would you say the kind of current needs and issues are in the community that are quite prevalent at the moment?
More recently, with this cost of living crisis, there's obviously the areas that the people that we work with are actually amongst the most deprived communities. And it doesn't necessarily mean just the Asian community. It's actually some of the newer Eastern European, other people that are coming and settling here. You know, from all sorts of nationalities. What happens is, obviously, they come to areas where they feel comfortable. And the inner city areas are actually where they most find their comfort levels. So they come and settle here, and they face the same challenges that we faced in the 70s. And so they need a similar sort of help. So communities might have changed a little bit, but the challenges for those communities and some of our own, you know, the Asian community and some of the, even now, the homogeneous community are actually the same. It's just that some people are more able to come and ask for help. Other people have to be encouraged because they need the help. But some of those people have this sense of integrity that we don't want to go on benefits and things.
The pride of it.
The pride, self-pride. But we need to encourage them that you don't need to starve. And we have actually had people that have actually, because of that self-pride, have not looked for help. And they've not eaten for days. They will look outwardsly, they will actually put a suit, trouser, clean clothes on, go out. And, you know, when people have said to us, look, these people need help, and we've actually spoken to them. There was one particularly older Asian couple, when we got to them, they hadn't eaten for 5 days. Proper meal for 5 days. So in those senses, there are, you know, I can go through hundreds of stories like this, but actually getting some of the people above this self-pride and say, look, there's this whole system there that can actually help you is also a challenge. The other challenge, obviously, is also to continuously support. We are actually not that big an organization in terms of the demand that is out there right now. Because even people that would have been considered reasonably okay at one time, with all the mortgage interest rates going up, the food prices going up, everything, you know, if you've got a car on HP and you've got a mortgage and your fundamental food prices are going up 25-30%. Some food items have gone up 200%. And those people that at one time would have been considered, oh, this guy, don't need any assistance. Even that category of people have started struggling. And when sometimes people hear on TV that nurses, doctors, at the lower end are actually struggling, and people think, well, how? Come here and we'll show you how.
That's true. The wages aren't going up in the same proportion as the cost of living, isn't it? And what would you say to someone that wants to get involved in the community and help out but doesn't really know where to start? What would your advice be?
First and foremost, you need to clear your own head of what it is that you can do and what you want to do. Sometimes the two things can be different. Because some people that are actually, highly employed professionals might just want to work with young people. Because it takes away from that pressure of being in that environment. What you can do, for me, if I had a, high quality accountant that wants to come and volunteer, it's brilliant for me. But that accountant might think, nah, I do this 5 days a week. If I want to volunteer or do something somewhere, I want to do something different. Clear your head of what you want to do. Because that way, when you actually go and offer something to someone, to an organization, and there are hundreds of organizations that are constantly looking for volunteers. There is not a shortage of opportunity. Whatever skill set you think you can bring, it might not be Ashiana, it might be another organization. Your skill sets will be valued always. Your volunteering will be valued always. Because a vast majority of stuff in this system is run by people who give their time voluntarily. This organization actually, as much as it has employed people, it also has volunteers. Because there was no way we could ever meet the demand purely by employing more and more people.
That's true.
One, we don't have the funding. And the other thing is, it's just because more centers closed in COVID and pre-COVID because of government funding cuts. Where we were one of about 8 or 9 centers locally. Now we're the only center left, along with another organization just up the road. So we can imagine that within the locality where there were 8 or 9 centers doing the work, there's only 2 centers doing the work now. And the demand has actually, in the last couple of years, has only gone up, it hasn't gone down. So volunteers are always welcome, always needed. But people that want to volunteer need to have a clear head in what they want to do and how they can help. But there's never a shortage of opportunity, and whatever skill set you got, there's going to be an organization that will value it.
Everyone's got their own skill set.
But there will be an organization that will, if it's not Ashiana, it could be Northex. If it's not Northex, MECC down the road, Smaller Community Forum, Bernardo's, whoever, but whatever skill set you bring to offer as a volunteer, an organization will value it and take it on board.
Exactly, And where do you see the future of ACP going? Where do you see it in 5-10 years from now?
In 5-10 years, ideally, our dream of a board of trustees is that we would be able to say, this is no longer necessary.
A few people have told me that same.
But the way we see things going at the moment, maybe that's not going to happen in the next 5 or 10 years. Because ideally, we'd like to think people are actually their own strength enough to be able to understand the systems of benefit systems, this and the other, and do things for themselves. Some of which we are actually trying to educate people with. But these things, the government changes these things quite regularly, and some of it's intent to make things harder. Some of it is an attempt to make things simpler, but what it ends up is making things harder. Right now, everything's been made IT based. But if you're over roughly around my age and above, IT is something that was actually being introduced when you were in your last years of school. So it's not something you've grown up. Younger people have IT as automatic. They don't even think about picking up a phone.
No, artificial intelligence is awesome.
So, whereas somebody like me, has to pick up one button at a time. And then you have people that are actually older than us, and they're certainly being told they need to make the pension applications, all the other benefit applications online. The intention is to make things simpler, but it makes things more difficult for them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
for
they
the
still
older
need
people.
Support in doing that.
So they need support in doing that, and the confidence it knocks out of people. I don't think anybody ever measured the fact that if somebody was able to sit down and fill their own form in, is now suddenly reliant on somebody else to type this up for them.
It seems like quite a daunting task for them to even start on.
Yeah. So it actually knocks the confidence off. So we're actually having to do two things. We're actually having to do the applications and actually say to people, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's not, and keep those people engaged in the system so they can actually get the help that they need.
Reduce the barriers so that they can get the help.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to move on to a little section where is the word association game. So I'm going to give you a word and I want the first word or a few words that come to your mind. Okay, so you ready?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. ACP.
Helping communities.
Success.
Who you can take along with you.
Happiness.
Happiness in seeing other people being successful, especially our younger generations.
Life.
Challenge.
And finally, Mohammed Shafique.
Mohammed Shafique feel satisfied and always happy for the next challenge.
Yeah, well, very well said. And just kind of finishing off now, do you have any kind of advice you would give to the next generation, the younger generation, to follow in people like your footsteps?
My advice to younger people is, first and foremost, make a success of yourself.
Yeah.
And whether it's educational, whether it's skill, whether it's through financial means or whatever. But then when you're actually getting somewhere, make sure that you're actually pulling a group of people up with you.
Okay.
Anybody and everybody can actually be individually successful. The real success is in who you take with you.
Yeah.
And sometimes even if it's just members of your own family, it's more than enough.
Yeah. No, that's very good advice. And to kind of finish off, do you have a message you'd like to give to the Sparkbrook and ACP community?
We, as Ashiana, are always here for you. If you need any help, especially around advice, benefit advice and all of that, ACP, and not so much me, but members of staff here, are always keen to help and will help. And for our staff have been wonderful over the years. We've had a lot of people come and go, and some people have stayed for years. And they're highly experienced, and I value their work. And the Board of Trustees appreciate the work they put into in helping the community. So we're here to help the community, and we also value the staff that actually help us deliver that mission.
Yeah, that's great. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
much over the
time,
last
Ali.
Thank
you very much.
I've been looking forward to having this podcast for a while now, so it's good we actually got to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more of these episodes, and I'll see you on the next podcast.